My name is Anastacia, and I am a health coach. For many years, that has meant that I've taught yoga. I've been a personal trainer, a movement health specialist, and a nutrition coach. I'm now embarking on a new certification in a coaching modality called Neurographic art. And I guess first I'd like to explain why I chose to change my coaching to begin with. Over years and years of working with different kinds of people, I started noticing a very common thread. People who have ease and health and relaxation in their lives heal and move freely and better. And when they have injuries, they recover faster. People who are struggling with chronic stress and unresolved trauma don't heal. I started noticing this pattern in my clients, and eventually I recognized the same pattern in myself. And around the time, right before the pandemic started, I realized that my direction in health coaching had lost focus. I no longer felt that I could help my clients because I couldn't help them work through their stress and trauma. I wasn't qualified. And my own body started to respond less and less to me because I wasn't addressing my own. When you start to learn about what trauma is on a neurological, scientific level, it's very easy to get stuck in the idea of being traumatized. And when you start to focus on healing, at some point you realize that after you felt like you've healed enough, you may or may not have the skills, the steps to move forward in your life. I didn't. The bridge between actionable change, actual progress towards life goals is hard to attain when you don't have a stepping stone from trauma resolution to progress. And while I've learned many different modalities and many different kinds of information from clinicians and therapists and clinical physical therapists and other things that I've learned over the course of my career, I wasn't able to bridge that gap for myself or for my clients. But drawing did. Neurographic art is an aesthetic coaching modality that helps you map out on paper in a very formula-like way your goals and aspirations in life. And by using a small toolbox of different kinds of figures and lines drawn in a very specific way, you can map out what you're working with, what you're working through, and by drawing, build new neural patterns in your brain towards that goal. That can mean the actionable steps towards goal resolution, but it can also mean working through limitations and inhibitions that you held in yourself. Essentially, with neurographic art, you're able to bridge healing and actionable life movement towards a new, better, greater life. And that's what I did for myself. In the 3 years since I've started drawing, my life has changed to a very unrecognizable place, and it continues to change in more unrecognizable to me ways. Okay, so there are 3 important tenets in my life that I hold close to myself. Creativity, health, and community. I didn't set out to be a health coach when I was younger. I spent years and years and years studying classical voice with the intention of becoming an opera singer. At some point, well, after I dropped out of college the second time, I realized the effect of trauma that it has on your voice. That's something I'm still working through. I have been an art model. I have drawn in different ways traditional Russian folk art. I have been a photographer, and I want to go back to alternative processes, and one day I will make very large-scale cyanotypes using digital negatives. I know a little bit of woodworking. I intend to build furniture. The partners with which I am building a collaborative business that starts with a coaching business in neurographic art are also artists, craftsmen, potters, woodworkers, visual artists, and we are forming an artist collaborative that includes coaching and teaching, but also our own collective of arts and crafts. At the core of things, I fully believe, based on the experience of my own life, that the act of creating is healing itself. Creativity is an inherent human quality, and whether you're making art or music or writing code or journaling or even making your own coffee at the start of the day, the act of creation brings us meaning in our lives. With the coaching that I do, there's a science-based combination of factors that allow the actual methodology to be effective. There is the visual component of creating an aesthetically pleasing piece of work. There is the fine motor skills that feel actionable to our brains that allow us to create a stronger connection to what we're doing. In the coaching modality, the art that you create is potentially quite stunning, and I've made some wonderful pieces that I'm very, very proud of. But the methodology itself works on the process of self-reflection and self-observation. As you draw in the prescribed way, you observe the reaction of your emotions, your ability to visualize, if you have it. I personally don't have much of it. Inner eye, my visual imagination, well, for also trauma-related reasons, is non-existent. But you can observe what you feel in your body, what you feel emotionally, the thoughts that arise in your mind, so that as you draw, you start to dig into your subconscious mind on the theme that you have chosen and create new pathways in your brain because of it. The creativity of neurographic art in itself can be very fulfilling, but for me personally, one of the goals that I am still working on in my self-coaching modality is a return to a deeper form of creativity for myself. And I understand the inhibitions that I have that keep me from making more art or making more music or exploring new forms of creativity. I also know that I can draw out on paper and work through so that when I'm ready for it, I'll be able to make the art that I would like to make again. I found out about neurographic art by being Russian. This coaching modality is created by a Russian doctor of psychology named Pavel Piskaryov. And quite unfortunately, the major bulk of information that is available about this coaching modality, including the growing body of scientific research on the modality, is all in Russian. I found it on Instagram as a part of my ongoing search for different information. Social media has been a great place for me to jump on little bits of information and look deeper into them. And yeah, if you go online and just Google neurographic art, you're going to find some very basic and mostly incorrect little blog posts, because the methodology has not yet been very well developed in English. However, if you were to Google the name Pavel Piskaryov, you will actually land on the Institute of Creative Psychology's English version page, and you can find out quite a bit about it. So my goal in the start of a business that I'm starting virtually as I speak here today is to create a body of information that is easily accessible on this very powerful coaching modality in English and not just in Russian. Here's a really important thing that a lot of people don't understand, is that you can literally change your mind. We are dynamic beings who at any point of our life can change the circumstances around us. And one of the biggest challenges that I see in the people that I've worked with and the people I've had in my life is that people do not understand that we have choice to be different. The concept of choosing to be different is at this point quite heavily supported by neuroscience. there is a concept called neuroplasticity that shows us that we can rewire the patterns in our brains to be different. So while the program that we receive from our environment, from our childhood, from our communities and our media can be deep and difficult to change, we actually have the ability to choose to be different. It's not magic, it's not wishful thinking, it is actual neuroscience. As a side note, neurogenesis is also a thing, so you can literally stimulate the growth of new neurons in your brain. The struggle that I've had in my previous aspects of career, especially in the later years where all of my clients were deeply stressed out and dealing with unresolved trauma, is that they didn't understand that change is possible. And in the business that I want to create and the way that I want to present the things that I have learned is an actionable way to changing, quite literally, your mind. All right, so I'm in the first month of a 9-month-long training course that will, well, it will help me be a fully certified neurographic art coach, but also at this point looks like give me many different avenues of exploration within neurographic art. At the same time, I'm starting a business with my creative business partners, where the first big project is to create an online coaching platform so that we can reach as many people as we can, to help as many people as we can recreate their lives, recreate their mentalities, rewrite their nervous systems to live a greater life. And we have big plans for ourselves as artists, and we have certainly big plans for ourselves as collaborative creators. But the project of building this business is built on my full commitment to being the kindest person that I can be in this world, and to help as many people as I can live a greater life. Over the course of my, 16-year career, I've amassed a number of tools that help me handle changes and maybe also times of roadblocks in my life. Some have to do with, getting exercise, which, to be honest, because of the aforementioned trauma, is a little bit difficult for me right now. I prioritize getting sunlight. I prioritize going into nature. If all else fails, I focus on my breathing. I am a nutrition coach, so I do focus on having good nutritional, nourishing habits. Oh, actually, that brings me to the point that as a health coach, one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about health is that health is sacrifice. And the thing that I would like to share with as many people as possible is that health means feeling good. Not the instant gratification feeling good of, let's say, eating a cookie or watching a video of a kitten, but the constant state of feeling at home in your body and feeling at ease with yourself. That's a project that I'm working on for myself because, trauma is trauma, and I've taken a break from being able to feel some things, which I will be able to recreate in myself by drawing. But breathing is important, sleep is important, fresh air is important, sunlight is important, according to neuroscience. Okay, so let me be clear about something that's very important. I talk about my own trauma because that is something that I've had to deal with. I know that many people in many different kinds of ways are dealing with the same thing, and it is my heartfelt intent to be able to help those who actively feel stuck within themselves on that level. But for a lot of people, that's not what's necessary. Some people are not necessarily feeling active, constant force of trauma, but just need a way to structure new goals in their life, or figure out new directions, or just figure out what they want in and of itself. And that understanding means that by drawing, you can find avenues in your real life to be able to achieve those things. I firmly believe that creativity is a part of health, and for me that means making actual art, and for some people that means, well, yeah, maybe writing code, maybe just journaling, maybe just making that cup of coffee, maybe cooking, maybe not creating anything tangible, but just creating actionable change in life. Creativity in having agency in life is a part of health. And what that means to every individual person is incredibly different. I intend to create a community-based art collective in France. You do not have to have the same goal. You don't have to completely change every facet of your life. That's what I needed for myself. But for many people, there's just little changes that need to happen, little discoveries that need to happen, little understandings that need to happen. And on whatever scale, on whatever theme in life, you can use a modality of drawing to figure that out for yourself. Some people will want to use coaching to make money. Actually, a lot of us will. Great, me too. Some people will want to just be able to plan a really awesome vacation. Some people will want to completely rewrite their life in terms of full healing from illness or trauma or disease. Some people just want to be able to, I don't know, climb a mountain or bench press 400 pounds, and we can build the neural pathways to be able to achieve those goals too. Our concepts of health are unified by some understandings in neuroscience, things like exercise and sunlight and sleep and nutrition, most importantly community, but our own individual expression of that is completely up to us. Using neurographic art, you can figure out your own path, not prescribed by other people's expectations of you, but discover the expectations that you have for yourself. Well, I am so excited that on April 21st, I will teach my very first ever neurographic art class. It's going to be an exploration for everyone involved, particularly me. The first class is going to be an introductory module. I stutter, I'm okay with that. To get familiar with the baseline tools of the course, but also to create a point of inspiration for whatever change you're looking for in life. It might be a way of setting intentions that you already have in your mind. It might be figuring out what you actually want, depending on what you feel is maybe even nebulously missing in your life. It could be taking the desires that you have and figuring out why they're actually important to you, because the why is often a very big part of our ability to create change in a sustainable, ethical, ecological way. But the very first step in me teaching classes here is to set intent, figuring out what the intention for our life is, with future classes based on what we collectively decide is important for us, how to go from intent to actionable change on paper and then in real life. Our business is in the very, very first embryonic stage where we are formulating our identity, we are formulating our online presence. So we ask that people who choose to start this journey with me have kindness and patience, and hopefully in a little bit of interaction with us so that we can figure out the best way that we can share our coaching goals with first this community and also a wider online community. What is my muse? There is nothing more than I want in life than to be the kindest person I can possibly be, to as many people as I can possibly be kind to. And while in my own personal experience, the kindness breaks into creativity and health and community, for me, the concept of kindness is the major driving force for my very existence. Let's say practical business logistics that we're hoping for. In the courses that I will teach at my Muses, I will hope to create a launchpad for teaching online classes. Anyone who is able to come to the first small group class will have access to a live recording. Let's say we'll have access to a recording of a repeat of the class or the class itself. Anyone who is not able to come to the in-person class will also have access to attend a reprisal of that course online. We want to create a little bit of momentum using referrals and incentives to engage more people. So we will kindly ask for perhaps interaction on social media to help us build a following, or referrals that actually come to our classes, and most importantly, feedback from people who choose to start drawing with us in the themes that are important to them, so that my first classes are guided by the intent of people who want to learn from me, and not necessarily guided by what I want from other people, because this is a modality of exploring and connecting to yourself. And quite frankly, I have enough practice in connecting to myself. I have my own goals in my own drawing life, and I want to focus on what people are aiming for in their lives. Well, one final note. My life has dramatically changed since I started drawing, and the last couple of months has felt like a very positive avalanche, very disorienting, very chaotic, but all in all, downhill movement towards my goals. I cannot pretend, though, that the change doesn't come without challenge. Change is hard. It's uncomfortable, and part of drawing with me is going into unknown parts of yourself, and everything that is unknown will always feel, at least initially, very uncomfortable. If you're willing to change, be willing to feel the discomfort and have the faith and the trust that through the discomfort, the change will come.